Hey, welcome back, everybody. And I just wanted to pull up a game by Liren, because we all know, I believe it's sometime in November, he's gonna be playing against Gukesh Tomaraju from India, to decide if he's gonna retain his title or if Gukesh is gonna be potentially the youngest world chess championship. So this game that I pulled up, it was played in 2015 in the World Rapid and Blitz in 2015. And Liren is white, and his opponent, Ernesto Inarkiev, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, he's black. And this is quite a nice game, and there were some sacrifices in the game. So let's just see exactly what happened. Liren with the white pieces opens up with c4, the English opening. It's quite a solid opening, and his opponent goes for the, I believe this is the French. Yeah, it can transpose into the French or the Caracan, trying to play for a quick d5 right there. Yeah, that's this bishop is most likely gonna go over there, because it's pretty much hemmed in by this pawn and this pawn. So his opponent, Liren, plays knight to c3, and his opponent lashes out with d5. And there's some tension here. Obviously, Liren can take, or he can take, depending on whose turn it is. And Ernesto Liren plays d4. So this can easily also transpose into some type of I believe some type of London, but the bishop is still here though. He develops the knight, and there's an exchange in the middle, and then the pawn is taken, and this knight is pinned. You would like to move it, but at the moment it is pinned. So he just plays a nice solid move to consolidate the center, and I believe Ding also does the same thing on his side. Now this, I guess, it can also come from a London, but it came from the French. Now the knight is free to move. It can go like right there, I believe, like right there, to exchange this bishop, and he can also kick it out right there. He develops the bishop, he also develops the knight, and Ding does the same. Everybody's ready to castle, but before that, he wants to trade these, since I guess it was an annoying pin. Well, with the bishop there wasn't really a pin, but so he decides to take, and the queen is gonna retake. And even though there is a tactic with this queen right here, this queen, there isn't really a good place for the knight to move to, even though the knight is gonna get attacked. So he just moves the queen away, well, because this wasn't really working. So he decided he can castle this way or this way, depending on what black does. So Ernest just develops the knight on this side of the rim. Could be a bad thing, it just depends. Ding plays f3. Yeah, we are told don't play f3, but I am not a GM, so I'm pretty sure he knows a thing or two about that. Okay, and Ernest is ready to castle. I guess he just wanted to blunt this bishop. That's why he played this move, because normally you play that when you got the bishop on f8 and you are ready to fianchetto on the g7 square. So I guess he just did that to prevent any attacks, any weird tactics in the future. and also the knight is somewhat defended. So he just castles and develops the rook into potentially this file might open up. So it's a good idea to develop your things, your rooks, especially on two open files. He just develops the bishop, a nice solid move. And Ding tries to open things up. He wants to free these rooks, especially with this queen right here. And this bishop might get attacked somehow with these pawns. Okay, so right now everything is balanced. So far nobody's losing yet. Everything is balanced. So they just exchange in the center. And also he's like, if you're gonna attack my queen with some type of x-ray, I'm also gonna do the same thing to you. Okay, so Ding just consolidates this weak pawn right there by just blocking this bishop. And he just develops this guy onto an active square. And he plays f. Wow. Yeah, Ding played f3 and now f6 is played. Yeah, you know you're gonna have a good game when f6 and f3 is played in the same game. You know you're gonna have a bang of a game. So he just takes more space on the side of the board, and since this one has been weakened, he moved his queen to attack this weakness. So he just goes back right there, just defending that lonely pawn right there. And he decides to trade. You cannot take with the queen, this one will be hanging, so you're gonna have to take with the knight. And so he does. And also the queen needs to somewhat protect these three pieces right here. So he just reroutes this knight. This knight really wasn't doing too much, so maybe this knight can go potentially here if this pawn ever moves. And you can also reroute the knight maybe over here if possible. This one is a better square than this one, just because it's more towards the center and you wanna control the center. You wanna take control of the center. Whoever controls the center typically has an advantage in most cases. So Ding tries to neutralize the pressure on this, because this is it's a weak pawn. It's somewhat of a backwards pawn. It doesn't have any other pawn to protect it, so he's gonna try to attack it and he's gonna try to defend it. He just goes queen to e7 and Ding plays queen to c3, and I believe Ding is also gonna try to attack this pawn right here. That's why he's trying potentially to line up stuff. And also there might be some tactics on this diagonal, but for the moment this knight is protecting it. And apparently this was a mistake. a6 was a mistake. I know it destabilizes the knight, but I guess the engine wants to play here. I guess maybe this one might become a target. I'm not too sure, but so Ding centralizes the knight and he moves the king away from this diagonal. Maybe he wants to move the knight away. So Ding just moves the queen to try to line it up. So now this is a threat to take this and this. So just moves the queen away, and Ding does a rook lift. Apparently that was a mistake. He still has an advantage, so it doesn't really matter too much. And also does a mistake with routing the knight. I guess you gotta try to kick this knight out. And Ding takes more space. It says it's a miss, but in all practical sense, it's a very nice move. It doesn't make too much weaknesses. Plus, he still has a good sizable advantage of a pawn. He finally plays g6, but I believe g6 was a move in this, but he finally plays it here. But in this situation, it's a bad move, and Ding can just move the knight away, maybe to even e3, e2 or something. But first he does an intermezzo attacking the queen, and he's gonna move the knight right about now. Oh wow. Yeah, so the first brilliant move, he did not move the knight. The knight is completely hanging. That is a free horse. But if you take that, the rook is gonna come, and you're gonna have to give up that knight so that when the rook takes, you can at least defend the mate right there. Yeah, not here because of the bishop, but here you can defend it. So it is a nice sacrifice, but the knight is gonna be won back over here, because if you don't play that move, you're getting checkmated pretty soon. So he decides to take that pawn, and I believe you can still play right there, but although he might take with check, but you can still play there, I believe. And so he does, because you can take that, move the king away, and you're gonna have to come back here to protect this pawn. But in that situation, you can actually play knight there, because the pawn is pinned by the queen and the rook, and he can just take and then threaten mate again, and there is no good way to stop the mate. So this is actually Ding near his best, because Ding was actually 2800 at some point, I believe, and you can kind of see just the type of games that he's capable of, you know. Like, look at this attack, you see here, this knight can go there potentially, and also this bishop is a monster. All type of sacrifices are possible, and this knight has been hanging for how many moves? 1, 2, 3, 4 moves, 5, like 6 moves or something. It's been hanging. So whenever Ernest played knight there, because this was a threat of checkmate, you're gonna have to give up your queen, so he played there so that at least it's defended 2 times. So Ding played bishop c2. Yeah, bishop c2. Whenever somebody plays a move like this, either they're like 800 elo or they're out of this world. There is very, very little thing separating the two spectrum. Whenever a move like this is played, either they're pretty good, or you know, they just learned the game a day or two ago. Now, what is the point of this move? Obviously, it looks like this is a free bishop. But what actually happens when you take the bishop? What happens? Well, it's kinda tempting to... There's a few things here, but I really can't see it. But I guess the king is kinda weak. No, let's just continue and let's see the idea. So that is a free bishop, and there is no obvious continuation. Okay, I guess that was the idea, to just bring the queen back. I guess that was the idea, to bring the queen back, deflect it, sort of like a deflection tactic with two layers, and now you're threatening mate. That was the idea, to get the queen from protecting that thing. So now he's most likely gonna have to give the queen away. There is no other move. Well, he decided not to give the queen away, but decided to give up that pawn and try to win his king. So Ding saves his knight from being potentially taken, and also it's a discovered attack. So the queen is lost. Either way, the queen is lost. So he's just gonna take the queen. There is no better move. He's just gonna take the queen, and he might take that, and then he might take that, right? And this king is so exposed. Even though he has like a bunch of pieces surrounding it, these two rooks, these two knights. White has a queen. He has a queen for a knight, I believe. A queen for a knight or a rook, but that's still not enough, especially with the weak king. So he decides to take in the middle, and Dings gives a check. Now the king has nowhere to go except these two squares. So he decides to try to run away. And I believe Ding can even consider playing that. To open up the king even more. But he decides to take first. That's also pretty fine. It's gonna have to take and then maybe play that. Go for b5. Okay, I guess that's also another way. You can also go there. I guess if you played there, then maybe you could have played right there. It's still losing, but I guess it was just a hanging pawn, so I decided to take it. Okay. So yeah, this is pretty much lost. It's like reasonable at this point. The king is completely open. So he's gonna try to run away, but he's gonna push those pawns eventually. And also that's another strategy. Whenever you're up material, you can try to trade. Obviously black is not gonna take. He's gonna move the rook somewhere, maybe to protect this guy or even there. But so he decides to go there to protect. He's gonna try to make some type of fortress, but in this situation it's not really gonna work, especially with these pawns that can open up lines even more, and these pawns. Yeah, it's gonna be pretty tough to make some type of fortress work. So Ding pins this knight, and I believe in this position Ernest resigned. He resigned the game with the fact that if he tries to unpin, he's gonna lose this. And if he plays like any random move, this rook goes there, and in fact black almost has no moves. Black has almost no moves. And another thing that black can consider doing is also going right there to even pin this guy. and then it's pretty much lost just because the king is so weak. So in this position, his opponent resigned the game. And this game was played back in 2015. It just shows the type of games that Ding can play. He's been lately. Ding has been playing not at his best. He's been playing okay, but we'd like to see this type of Ding in the upcoming matches. And if he brings his A game on, then it's really hard to say if Gukesh can actually beat him like in a long match. I'm pretty sure Gukesh is gonna manage to maybe get a few games here and there. But if this is the type of Ding that shows up, then it's gonna be Gukesh is gonna have his work cut out for him. But I hope you guys enjoy this recap, and I'll try to put in some more recap for Gukesh and also Ding as we get closer, just so we can, get ready for what's about to go down in November. But if you guys did appreciate this video, I would appreciate it if you guys like and maybe even share the video, and I'll see you guys next time.